Hi there and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Eric Chilton with Lauren Coleman, Monica Robinson, and Jalen Gilkey.
As you know, weather in Ida, that is one of our big stories for today. We will check in with Monique in a few minutes. But in the meantime, Duke Energy is sending crews to help restore power in Louisiana after Hurricane Ida made her mark on the state's power grid. 60 members from the Carolinas are headed to Louisiana, while other crews are on standby, waiting to see how Ida will impact the Triad before the company sends them to Louisiana to assist.
So the Greensboro Fire Department's Swiftwater Rescue Team, they headed back to Haywood County to prepare for any impact that Ida may have in our state. The Winston-Salem Fire Department, their water rescue team also sent an 8-member crew to the area. Crew members had just returned home last week after helping with rescue and recovery efforts, that of course following Tropical Storm Fred. So that's the next question about Ida. Monique, we're talking about her track and how it will impact us and the timing of all of this.
Yes, Ida was a hurricane previously, but has been slowly but surely downgrading, weakening in strength. But talking about the winds, take notice when we look on our radar, satellite and radar, showing you how large of a system this is. The latest details as of 11 a.m. showing that the center is roughly 600 miles west-northwest of Huntsville, Alabama. But when you look at the imagery here, we're seeing rainfall spiral bands extending into South Carolina, North Carolina, and even some sections of Virginia. So again, this is a very large system, which means slowly but surely, as this system continues to move in that west-northwest direction, locations across the Triad are going to have to keep an eye out for some storms. Now, looking at our radar, some of our western counties in North Carolina already picking up on some showers and storms. The Triad as a whole is staying dry as for now, but we're already starting to see the cloud cover with the outer edge of these spiral bands. This is what you're looking at here, this visible imagery showing you where the clouds are, and you can see those are pushing out ahead and already seeing them here in the Triad, making for much more of a cloudier afternoon. Appalachian State over in western parts of the state are already seeing the very thick clouds moving through. They'll be the first ones to deal with the rainfall and even some storms, and then as the system continues to move eastward, we'll all start to feel the rain through tonight. So as of now, the Storm Prediction Center does have most of the Triad actually a marginal risk for severe weather for tonight, and then that risk shifts eastward as we go into the day tomorrow. Much of the Triad still staying at a level 1, but eastern North Carolina at a slight risk, which is an even upgraded status. So I'll have more details in just a few moments on what exactly impacts we can expect here, and one of which does conclude a low tornado risk. I'll be breaking it all down, including that exact timing, in just a bit.
Hey, don't forget, when it comes to weather, you can take us with you wherever you go. Just download our free WFMY News 2 app, and we'll let you know what's happening in your area, no matter where you are.
A nearly 20-year war is over in Afghanistan now that the nation's final service member has left Afghan soil. This night vision image of Major General Chris Donahue from Fort Bragg shows him as the last American soldier to leave Afghanistan. Donahue is commanding general of the 82nd Airborne Division, and he's been deployed 17 times in support of operations in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, North Africa, and Eastern Europe. Thousands of troops spent the last 2 weeks protecting airlifts, taking tens of thousands of Americans, Afghans and others out of the nation now controlled by the Taliban. President Biden addressed the nation about ending the war. He said leaving Afghanistan was a decision he made to save American lives.
No nation has ever done anything like it in all of history. Only the United States had the capacity and the will and ability to do it, and we did it today. The extraordinary success of this mission was due to the incredible skill, bravery, and selfless courage of the United States military and our diplomats and intelligence professionals. For weeks, they risked their lives to get American citizens, Afghans who helped us, citizens of our allies and partners and others on board planes and out of the country. And they did it facing a crush of enormous crowds seeking to leave the country.
So Fort Bragg's 1st Brigade Combat Team 82nd Airborne Division shared this photo on their Facebook page celebrating the Devil Brigade. Now, These were the last 10 members of that brigade in Kabul that assisted with evacuations. The photos show the soldiers on their daring rescue to secure that airport during the withdrawal. You can see they watched over planes packed with evacuees, and congratulations, and we're of course always thankful for their service.
All school districts in our area are now operating under a mandatory mask policy. Stokes County leaders announced today the district will return to mask wearing inside and on buses starting tomorrow. District officials say there have been 101 school-related exposures where students had to quarantine in the first 5.5 days of school. The district plans to revisit the decision again on September 17th and every 2 weeks following. We spoke with Superintendent Rice about the decision shortly after the district made its announcement. Take a listen.
If our numbers get better, we will certainly revise this, because again, I do believe a parent is the most qualified to make the medical decisions for their children. But as the superintendent, I must make what I believe is educationally the best decision for all of our students. And so that's why I made the decision I did this morning.
The district was the last to make the reversal after Wilkes County Board of Education voted last night to mandate masks for students and staff. Today was the first day masks were required inside and on school buses. Wilkes County Board of Education will revisit the policy over the next 30 days. It is time to verify. The Verify team gets questions all the time about whether companies can mandate the COVID-19 vaccine. And the answer is yes, they can. And OSHA, the agency that regulates employer safety, is encouraging it. WFMY News 2's Megan Maleris verifies what this means for you.
That sound means it's time to verify. Tyson Foods, Hanes Brand, several healthcare providers. There's a growing list of companies mandating the COVID-19 vaccine for employees. So viewer Daryl Whitaker messaged us asking, is it true a company could be held liable with OSHA if the company required you to take the COVID-19 vaccine? He sent us a screenshot appearing to be from the OSHA website. It states if you require employees to get vaccinated as a condition of employment, you must record adverse reactions to the COVID vaccine. Let's verify. My sources for this are the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, known as OSH or OSHA. Also Jennifer Hagewood with the North Carolina Department of Labor, and Darren Howard, workers' compensation attorney at law for Dummett Frayden. The answer here is layered. First, OSHA. It sets and enforces standards for safe and healthy working conditions. Hagewood explained OSHA issues citations and penalties to OSH regulated companies who fail to report work-related fatalities and hospitalizations. And until recently, they were required to report adverse COVID-19 vaccine reactions too. But in the time since viewer Daryl sent in his question, OSHA updated its guidelines on adverse reactions to company mandated vaccines. The FAQ page now explains OSHA does not wish to disincentivize employers' vaccination efforts, so OSHA will not enforce requirements for employers to record worker side effects from COVID vaccinations. This policy is effective through May 2022. So what does this mean for you, the employee? Well, OSHA regulates the company, not the employee, so you could try to file a state workers' compensation claim if you miss work for a bad reaction to a mandated COVID vaccine, but you might not win the case.
If somebody does receive the vaccine because it was mandated by their workplace, and that individual, if they were to experience negative side effects down the road, that, in my opinion, is not going to be a claim in North Carolina. That would be an individual claim or perhaps even a class action claim against the pharmaceutical company that developed the drug itself, or the vaccine, I should say.
And remember, most states, including North Carolina, are employment at will states, meaning employers can mandate employees to do certain tasks like get the COVID-19 vaccine. In conclusion, we verified the claim OSHA is requiring companies to report mandated vaccine side effects is false. They don't have to do that through next spring because OSHA's priority is to encourage vaccinations. And while you, the employee, can pursue other avenues of liability like workers' compensation, decide if it's worth the time and cost for potentially little to no payout. Attorney Howard noted you're far more likely to hold an employer accountable if you can prove you contracted COVID-19 in the workplace. That's why you could see more companies mandate or at least incentivize the vaccine. With your Verify, I'm Megan Maleris.
If you have a question you want verified, submit a selfie video or short paragraph to verify at WFNY.com. Please include any links or pictures pertaining to your claim.
All right, so our state's coronavirus hospitalizations, they headed back in the wrong direction today. The state is reporting more than 3,600 patients are getting treatment. Prior to today, we had seen 3 consecutive days with declining numbers. It wasn't a significant decrease, but it was the first time in 2 months that we'd seen 3 declining days in a row. Now, locally, hospitalizations are declining a bit. Guilford County hospitals are treating about 150 patients. That is 10 fewer than yesterday and the lowest number the county has reported in a week and a half. We'll be right back.
Where am I standing for this? Hey, mic check, where am I standing for this? Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah. Mic check, 1, 2. This will make Brad happy. Those black unis look sharp. Look very sharp.
Mic check, Jalen.
We have some breaking news at 4. Coronado Middle School in Greensboro is on lockdown after an anonymous threat. Right now we're going to go ahead and take a live look at the school. There we go. Police put the school on lockdown out of an abundance of caution. Police say the students have been released for the day. Again, this is a developing story. We're taking a live look at Coronado Middle School, where the school has recently been put on lockdown. As soon as we learn more, we will update you on air and online on WFNYnews2.com. So make sure you stick with us. Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. More HVAC issues continue impacting Guilford County schools. Smith High School students learned remotely today. The school's website stated the air conditioning system had not been fully repaired. Smith High School released students early on Monday, as well as Ragsdale High School, because classrooms were too hot for students. Superintendent Dr. Sharon Contreras says the district has around 540 work orders for HVAC maintenance in buildings. 44 buildings in the district are experiencing these problems. Pandemic unemployment benefits, they come to an end this Saturday in North Carolina. Pandemic unemployment benefits are the additional $300 granted by federal government to assist workers impacted by the pandemic. North Carolina lawmakers voted to end the benefits, arguing the benefits acted as a crutch, keeping people from working. 26 states have now opted out of the additional aid, hoping it would get more people back to work. The New England Patriots released Cam Newton from the team. According to reports, Mac Jones will be starting QB for the team when they start week 1. Jones was selected 15th overall in the 2021 NFL Draft after foregoing his senior year at Alabama. Reports not giving any hints as to what could come next year for Cam. Yeah, this is very interesting. I know a lot of people are talking about this out on social media. I know I saw Cam Newton have put on his IG page that he was thanking people for love and support, but said not to worry about him and that he's going to be okay. So I'm just wondering, like, what exactly is this all about?
It's weird, right? I think when we all saw the alert, we were kind of shocked.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what happened? Because all summer long in the offseason, Coach Bill Belichick saying he's our starter, he's our starter. I know he had the majority of the first team reps, but we all know he had a little bit of a COVID protocol misunderstanding, missed some practice. Obviously, the rookie steps in and I guess impressed them enough to have Cam Newton lose the job.
So let me clarify, because I admittedly I don't know a whole lot about this. I just found out about it earlier today. But is he gone from the team?
He's been released.
See, and that's what I guess that's what's surprising to me. I could see maybe they decided to do a quarterback change, which I still don't get that. But to just say you're out kind of shocked me.
Well, all reports coming out of New England that I've been seeing was that Mac Jones has been excelling all throughout camp. Like Luke mentioned, there was the COVID protocol misunderstanding with Cam, which caused him to miss 5 days. So the combination between the rookie playing so well, he was the 15th pick of the draft. Cam's play last year wasn't so great. Plus, don't know what other factors could be, involved in this decision. But I feel like the Patriots are probably trying to give Cam a fresh start and allow him to at least have an opportunity to go somewhere else where he wouldn't be looked at as he was demoted. I feel like that's the problem in the locker room now. The guys are looking at him, who was the quarterback one, and now
like a leader.
Exactly, a veteran in the game, and now to be, put behind the rookie. I think that's kind of maybe not an ego thing, but just a confidence thing. And so I think that's why they chose to go with a different decision.
You got to give him at least a chance. Let him start week one. Let him mess up before you put the rookie in.
What I
But
think.
Bill Belichick, who knows?
And he's not, he's not the scrambling quarterback he used to be either. He's not as fast as he used to be. With that.
Well, good luck to Cam, right? Hopefully he can find a new home, land on his feet.
I'm wearing a pair of his
see.
shoes right now. I am. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. question for the ages, isn't it? How to be responsible with money, a common topic, never goes out of style. But dealing with older kids can be even more challenging than when you're trying to teach the little ones. I spoke with Jennifer Johnson of Blue Rock Wealth Management about how to steer them in the right direction. Jennifer, it's a topic that really we need to study all the way through our lives. We're talking about being fiscally responsible, but when your kids reach that high school age and maybe they have jobs and that type of, how do we teach them how to budget correctly that early?
Yeah, certainly by the time kids get in high school, you want them to be learning the basics of money. By the time they get that first job, maybe it's allowance, you want to let them have some leeway to maybe make some small mistakes then. Give them a chance to decide where they splurge, and that way they don't make big mistakes later. Hopefully they're learning from those small mistakes in high school.
So obviously you would encourage them to get a job in the high school years because that'll kind of teach them a little bit of responsibility, I would assume.
I think so. Yeah, you learn how paychecks work, what the withholdings will look like, what you're left with really at the end of the day, and that way they understand what they'll have to live with, and then you give them a little bit of chance to spend that money, to decide how they're going to allocate those dollars. Maybe they're getting a debit card at that point or a checking account. I would stress to the parents, though, give them a little freedom to make some mistakes, but make sure you watch over what they're doing.
So now they move on to college and there's a little bit more independence there. How do we keep tabs on them? What do we advise them?
Yeah, I think the biggest danger is as kids go off to college is with debt. There's a lot of focus now and attention paid to student loans and the dangers of taking on too much student debt that then they struggle with into their adulthood. But we can't forget about credit cards. Oftentimes it's when a kid goes off to college that they get their first credit card. And those can be really dangerous because you can really rack up a lot of debt at very high interest rates. So I would stress as kids go into college, if they're getting a credit card, that is a good opportunity to build credit, but it's also an opportunity to ruin your credit.
All good advice. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for your time today. We all need to we can take these lessons even as adults. That's so true, because we never stop trying to figure out how to balance things. So one thing that I noticed, the common thread from Jennifer was you got to be able to get into their accounts and look and make sure that they're okay. She did say, because my twins just went to college or are going and went, and one of the things she said was get them a credit card, but have a very small limit to it, and then help them to manage that, because when you're in college and you're just racking things up and not paying attention, then you got to pay that off in addition to student loans later. That can add up.
And she's right. That's what my parents did for me. And like in school we take a lot of classes where we're like, when am I actually going to learn how to use any of this?
Yes.
I took a finance class in high school as an elective, and we learned how to balance a checkbook. We learned how to write a check. Really useful stuff. So I think the earlier you can learn these skills, the better.
True.
Yeah, I didn't have a credit card until actually I got out of college and going to my master's program. My dad is a financial planner, and he always taught me only spend what you have until you've learned the skills to really manage what you have before you start managing other people's money.
It's true. It's very true. I'll tell you a quick tip for parents that have kids that may be going to college maybe next year. Get them a credit card in high school, manage it tightly, and let them develop a credit history.
Yeah.
Because if you want to do a student loan and you're trying to do it in their name, if they don't have a credit history, you can't do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Financial advisor.
There you go. I wish. 424. We're coming right back. Stay there.
Alrighty then, so the remnants of Ida, Hurricane Ida, that is continuing to still push to the north-northwest, the center, but the eastern edge of it, that's where much of the activity is, and it's starting to inch its way closer into North Carolina. Western counties already starting to deal with some rainfall. Severe thunderstorm warning well down to our south, but you can see these spiral bands. Those are the ones we really need to watch out for. As they start to push inland, they can produce a severe thunderstorm, which could also include a possible tornado. Temperatures right now in a mix of 80, so it's a bit breezy. I know you guys are seeing sort of the leaves blowing here in the distance. So as these clouds are pushing in, we're also starting to feel gustier winds, but breezy though, not too strong. Again, this is all associated with Ida. So here what we're seeing, temperatures in a mix of 80s around the Triad, but as we look towards our western counties, those that have much thicker cloud cover and even dealing with the showers as of now are having cooler temperatures. Now the winds, again, we're going to start to see these increase just a bit. I'm not seeing anything really maxing out beyond 20-mile-per-hour gusts, 25 maybe. But again, some localized locations with a severe storm that pushes through could have greater wind gusts. But overall, not expecting that to be a real severe weather threat concern. Tornado risk staying low, but that is still much higher, at least than the hail and flooding potential. Flooding more likely in western counties where there are greater rainfall totals expected. They're going to be dealing with more rain for a much longer period of time. And so that's why I'm expecting this area to see a little bit greater rainfall as compared to much else in the Triad. I'll have more details with that future cast coming on up.
Hey people, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Jalen, 1, 2, 3, 6, 17, 27, 44.
Welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Eric Chilton, Monique Robinson, and Jalen Gilkey today.
Yep, we're on Facebook. Make sure you join us there on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page and chat with us there during the breaks if you can.
Lots to talk about today, including Duke Energy is sending crews to help restore power in Louisiana after Hurricane Ida made her mark on the state's power grid. 60 team members from the Carolinas are headed to Louisiana, while other crews are on standby, waiting to see how Ida will impact the Triad before the company sends them to Louisiana to assist.
Yeah, so one crew member said he had that eerie feeling when he learned that Ida hit 16 years after Katrina to the day, but he's curious to go back and help once again 16 years later.
I went to Katrina back in 2005 and spent 3 weeks there, and to go back in that area, kind of wondering how it looks now, see how much they recovered from 2005 till now. To go back and help these folks, knowing the devastation that a hurricane of this magnitude can cause, and going back and helping them and the satisfaction, it's a good feeling.
Samaritan's Purse is sending specially trained disaster responders along with other support to the hardest hit areas of Louisiana. The organization is working with local churches to get volunteers on the ground to clear debris, dry out flooded homes, and tarp damaged roofs. Samaritan's Purse also assisted in recovery efforts after Katrina and launched a 5-year rebuild project to help more than 960 families rebuild their homes.
Well, the Greensboro Fire Department Swiftwater Rescue Team headed back to Haywood County. 13 crew members left early this morning. They're expected to be gone 6 to 10 days. The crews left in response to Ida. Deputy Chief Dwayne Church says this team is smaller than what he would normally send out for a few reasons.
Yeah, normally we would like to send about 30 personnel because we have all these personnel at our stations that are trained, and they spend much of the year getting ready for events just like this. But with our staffing issues right now, with COVID issues, we don't feel comfortable sending that many people out.
Now, the Winston-Salem Fire Department Water Rescue Team also sent an 8-member crew to the area. Crew members had just returned home last week after helping with rescue and recovery efforts, that following Tropical Storm Fred.
Alrighty then, so if you're still sticking with us from the start of the 4 p.m. hour, I promised you guys I would show you that future cast. So I'm just going to start the forecast, jumping right in to show you when we can expect the timing exactly of those spiral bands to start to push inland. So you can see overnight tonight and continuing through the early hours of your Wednesday, we're going to start to see these spiral bands push in through the Triad, continuing through your morning. Again, a wet start to the day. And then we see even greater rainfall as we go into the afternoon and evening tomorrow. Things clearing out, giving way to a much drier day on Thursday, an even cooler day overall. The setup here, so we do have what is now a tropical depression, Ida. Now just looking as though an area of low pressure for the most part, but behind it, it's going to be a cold front that's going to push inland. That cold front is going to be the game changer because that means less humidity and cooler temperatures. That nice Canadian high pressure builds in just behind. Here's the details though when we're talking about the Triad forecast related to Ida. So on and off storms starting for tonight and continuing through tomorrow evening. Rain, when we're talking rain, much of the Triad will be seeing between a ½ inch to 1 whole inch. But then as we look to the foothills, that's when they'll see greater amounts there. Low tornado risk that we're going to just have to keep an eye out for as these spiral bands push through, some of which can really produce a little spin up that we're going to have to keep a close eye on starting late as tonight and then continuing through your day on Wednesday. Again, Wednesday's not expected to be too high, but I'll have more details with that 7-day featuring cooler numbers coming up.
All Triad school districts now require students and staff to wear masks in buildings regardless of their vaccination status. Stokes County announced their change in policy earlier this afternoon, just 1 day after Wilkes County School Board voted to make masks mandatory. The district released a statement about the decision saying, in the first 5.5 days of school, Stokes County schools had 101 school-related close contacts placed in quarantine due to not wearing a mask or not being vaccinated. That's too many students losing educational opportunities. The district will reevaluate its decision on September 17th.
Well, today is the last day for statewide vaccine incentive program. For the month of August, many vaccination sites were offering $100 cash cards for residents who received their first shot. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey spoke with 2 of our counties about what might be coming next. Jalen?
Yep, as the state wraps up its first vaccine incentive, a number of our county health departments will be continuing to pass out cash cards for those who receive their first dose. That is, while supplies last. We spoke with both Guilford and Forsyth County health departments about these programs, and they both told us that they will be continuing to give out the $100 cash cards to those who receive their first dose of the vaccine until the cards run out. Novant Health's Chief epidemiology officer, Dr. David Priest, says he doesn't think the incentives help get more people in our state vaccinated.
I didn't personally see that the incentives made a big difference, and maybe the state has more data on that than I do. We're not as involved in that piece, but I understand the desire to do that. I just don't know that as ideologies have floated around, that those are making a really big difference.
According to a representative from the Forsyth County Health Department, they are waiting to hear from the state about a new incentive program in the near future. However, there is no timetable or clue as to what those incentives will be or when they'll be available.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Greensboro police say a shooting from earlier this morning is now a homicide. Officers were called to the scene after 11 this morning, where they found Jamson Rashad Graham. The suspect in this incident has been described as a 6'2" tall man, last seen wearing no shirt and blue shorts. The suspect left the scene of this incident driving a silver Honda and crashed near Pleasant Garden Road and Liberty Road before fleeing on foot. If you have any information to what happened, submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers by calling this number, 336-373-1000. The last U.S. military plane officially left Afghanistan yesterday evening, bringing an end to a nearly 20-year war. The final mass evacuation flights landed in America's air base in Qatar Monday night, followed by some of the last American troops. Celebratory Taliban gunfire rang out across the city, lighting up the sky. U.S. troops spent 2 weeks evacuating 123,000 civilians from Afghanistan. Some Afghan allies and Americans remain in Afghanistan. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says he believes that number is somewhere between 100 and 200 people. President Biden addressed the nation, saying leaders would bring home those still on Afghanistan soil if they wanted to return home. And the Tanger Center opens in just 2 days. The venue is set to open on Thursday with a performance by Rhiannon Giddens and friends. Masks will be required inside of the venue because of Guilford County's mask mandate that went into effect earlier this month. And it's possible some performances may require you to show proof of vaccination or provide a negative COVID test. Rhiannon Giddens is currently the only performance requiring one of those options to attend.
Oh, it's Two Wants to Know game show time. Yes, it is. All right, so here's what the topic is. It's laundry. Yay, we all do it. Okay, but are you doing it correctly? So here we go, friends. This is what it is. The normal cycle. What kinds of items should be washed in the normal cycle?
Maybe like t-shirts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, socks.
I'm gonna be honest, everything but my towels gets washed on normal.
Everything but your towels. Let's see what Consumer Report says. Okay, normal cycle should include socks, underwear, towels, shirts, but not your jeans. That's correct. Get this. The delicate cycle should include your wool, your bras, anything silk, and yes, your jeans.
What?
Yeah.
I know. Don't you think that's weird?
Jeans, I would think.
They're tough.
I wouldn't think delicate.
Well, why would I put my jeans in there with my delicates?
Yeah.
Well.
Or does it? Okay, go ahead.
They say, they say that it is because that jeans really should not be washed often, and even though they appear to be a really sturdy material, that they will break down. And so you need to wash them in delicate. Now, here's the next question. Ready? What should you wash in hot water?
Sheets.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Sheets, towels, rugs.
Jeans. It's something kind of filthy, I would think, right?
Something kind of filthy. Well, Consumer Report says this.
Hot water accounts for 90% of a washing machine's energy. We've been conditioned to think that everything needs to be sanitized and washed in the hottest water.
All right, lesson number 1, keep it cool. Consumer Reports tests have found that detergents nowadays are much better at removing dirt and stains at lower temperatures. So reserve the hot water for tackling oily stains or washing your sheets and towels if a family member is sick. For anything else, they say, look at the care label and opt for cold water. All right, lesson number 2, less is more. Never overload your washer. It can damage the machine and it won't clean as well if it is packed to the gills. The same holds true when it comes to detergent.
Many people are under the false impression that more detergent will get your clothes cleaner, but too much detergent is bad for the environment. Plus, it can leave more residue on your clothes.
All right, and lesson number 3 deals with mixing of the loaves. Usually we think of these are the whites, these are the darks, these are the colors, but that is not what the mixing issue really is. Mixing loads on most cycles causes fabric friction, which can shorten the lifespan of your clothes. So separate what should be washed together, not as much for color, but as much for the type of the fabric. We'll be right back.
You know, there are hundreds of coffee shops around the Triad, but the one we're going to introduce you to now is like no other. It's coffee that's served with a helping of love. I spoke to the general manager of 33 and Elm, Richard Oliver, about the coffee shop run by Industries of the Blind and how it does more, and it's more about really what it does than what it serves. So Richard, when I first heard about this, I thought, this is about the coolest thing ever. Talk about empowering people. Let's talk a little bit about the backstory first. How did you come up with this idea? What was the origin of all this?
So we had this space that we had sort of renovated in our building, and then we were looking at, we see a lot of folks here who are using food delivery services. So for paying all those fees and getting food that may not always be the healthiest of foods and paying higher prices, we thought, how could we better serve folks, our associates in our building, and offer them coffee, food that's made fresh and delivered to us by a couple of companies that we use for sandwiches and pastries, and then make coffee and teas and offer sodas to our folks so that they don't have to try to either order or walk to any kind of restaurants to get food.
So tell me about what you're noticing with the staff. I'm sure this is a good bit empowering for them.
Yeah, well, so it's a brand new sort of opportunity for us. So it provides new growth potential for the staff, for our baristas, all right? It's something that we've never done before. So we are training them, training ourselves on making coffee drinks. And it really has become just empowering for them. They've really taken it on. It is their coffee shop. Those folks are running it like it's their business.
This is great stuff you're doing, man. Congratulations. We can't wait to get our cup of joe there. It is a great thing. I mean, I've done stories with them before on other things they've done. They're just a great organization, making people feel empowered. And the people that work there, like he said, they feel like they're vested. You know, it's like it's their coffee shop, and they've never done this before, so they're all learning as they go. They will have an official launch in another week or so, and maybe a few days. They haven't decided on that actual day, but they are technically open for business now.
This is really cool. I would love to, like, maybe if we went inside the business and like followed one of those workers from start to finish, or see that training process. I think this is such a cool concept, but like you said, it's empowering people and giving people a sense of purpose. But I would really love to see, you know, how their day is working there. Very cool.
And I'm not much of a coffee guy myself, but
I
might have to make a bit of an exception just to go out there and see what else, you know, might not get a drink, see if they got some pastries or something. And if so, hey, I'm willing to try anything, but just because to support this great cause.
Yeah, for certain. Where exactly, I didn't get to catch it, where exactly is it located, Eric?
So they're right on Gate City Boulevard, not far from Elm, actually. If you go to Elm, take a right on Gate City, they're right down there on the right. So yeah, it's a great organization.
Another thing I can add to my list of things I need to try since I just came here.
Lauren, Monique, I've been adding to that list for about a year now.
Yeah.
So
mine is like
I'm not checking many off.
I need to just open up, get a tour bus, and I'll just take y'all everywhere that we need to go.
Let's do this bonding thing we keep talking about.
Get it all knocked out. All right, we're coming right back. Stay there. Take a short break.
Alrighty then, so I have yet to show the 7 days, so I want to just show it to you guys really quickly. Now again, the temperatures are going to be cool for the next several days. So tomorrow, tracking the rain continuing for Ida, by the evening kind of pushing out of our area and moving eastward. But Thursday and Friday, also a cold front that's coming right behind Ida is going to help to cool us down, but then we will slowly but surely warm back up. Rain chances staying low for your Labor Day, and it's going to be another warm one for us. Now, taking a look at the tropics latest update as of the 5 p.m. update came in a little bit early. We now have Tropical Depression 12. So again, this is nearing the peak of the season, so we're going to expect more activity, especially more activity emerging off that west coast of Africa. The track as of now shows the system very quickly strengthening as it continues to the central Atlantic, and then there's uncertainty where it will go thereafter.
All right, so today is National Eat Outside Day. Can't you tell? I'm having a picnic out here, in case you didn't know that. So I asked you on Facebook, tell me your favorite place to eat outside and why. Let's take a look. Glenda Smith says, lucky 32, but I agree with that second part of this. She said, no, when it cools off. Jennifer Dickinson said, New York Pizza on Battleground. That is their go-to spot. Lynn Holt Campbell says Joseph's Italian Bistro in Southport and Oliver's on the Cape Fear, both in downtown Southport. Ironically, I was just at Oliver's about a week or two ago. And Beth says Elijah's in Wilmington. Eating there too, that's a great place. Keith Bandy says here in Winston, 6th and Vine, sweet potatoes or 4th Street filling station. Love the atmosphere. All I have to say is okra. Fried okra and sweet potatoes there. Catherine Brown Young says Splash by the Sea in North Topsail Beach. All sound good. It's ironic that a lot of the places people had mentioned I had actually been to, so I agree with just about everybody.
A lot of those places are in the Cape Fear. That's where I'm from.
It's really not, I mean, I love all those restaurants. People just love to be near water, you know, sitting outside in water when they eat.
Yeah, Southport's beautiful.
I haven't been to quite a few of those restaurants, putting those to my list as well, but I love a nice rooftop or a nice patio, especially for brunch. That's more my style. What about you?
I'm gonna be honest, I really don't like eating outside.
Really?
I have a thing with flies. Like, I don't like flies, and so eating outside attracts flies, and it's just a mess. I try to avoid it at all times.
I'm with you in the summer, like in the middle of, if it's middle of the day. If it's evening, I'm good, but I can't, the heat just kills me.
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't really matter, you know, what time of year it is. I just don't like it. It's not my thing. It's weird. It's people walking by. It's just a mess. Just a mess.
I don't like the fresh air.
I like fresh air. You know, the atmosphere, all of that is great, but like actually eating outside, I'm not a super fan.
Jayla says, y'all don't bother me. I like it if it's pleasant. Fall in North Carolina, that's some eating outside weather right there. That's perfect.
Yeah, AC is inside too, though, so
There
I
you
agree
go.
with
There you
Jalen
go.
on that one.
All right, we'll be right back. Stick with us. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Hello, this is a mic check for your Tuesday newscast.
Hey there, Oklahoma, Oregon, Cali. I wrote some stuff in there. Let me know if I need.
Mike?
You, Jenna.
Mic check 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
This is, did you hear that?
Hang on just a second. Try it now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So, you know, it's time for my 2 cents. And today I want to talk about old toys that bring back memories for us. So YouTube is my downfall, and recently I saw a commercial for a toy that I had forgotten about that I absolutely loved. It was called a Vertibird. I found pictures of it on eBay. Take a look. Yeah, this thing was a little helicopter that you controlled remotely, and you could pick up things with it, and oh my gosh, I had so much fun. My friends would run around in circles as kids, and we'd chase each other with the Vertibird. I liked it so much that I got one for Christmas one year from Santa Claus. I wore it out, had to get another one because I wore the thing out till it broke. Do you remember some of these when you were little, like the See and Say? I think they still make these. I just remember that thing, the cow says moo, and that was back in those days. You had to actually pull the string to make it say that. How about Lincoln Logs? That's a famous food. I found all these on Amazon or eBay. This thing I think every baby had, or every toddler. It was. I had to look up the name. I never knew it was actually called the Chatter Phone, but it seems like every kid had that. Light Brights were so much fun to play with. Etch-a-Sketches were great. For me, I love the Etch-a-Sketch because I taught myself how to write in cursive on an Etch-a-Sketch. Ooh, yeah, how about that? But the all-time favorite, just stop everything, $6 Million Man action figure. That's my favorite. Yes, Lee Majors immortalized forever as one of the scariest looking action figures now as an adult that I've ever seen. That thing is horrible, but I loved it. It was my all-time favorite back then. And then I'll throw this little anecdote in for my brothers and sisters who were a lot older than me. They were teenagers when I was a toddler. They had some of these little portable record players that were battery operated and would play 45 records in there. For those of you that are too young, it doesn't mean 45 records. It means the size of the record. And I broke all of them because I was 3 and I tried to make them play my chocolate chip cookies. Didn't work out so well. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Residents in storm-battered Louisiana are trying to pick up the pieces after Hurricane Ida. The powerful storm knocked out much of the state's power grid, and the outages could last for a month in some places.
Ida is blamed for at least 4 deaths in Louisiana and Mississippi.